this exhibit was made possible largely because a group in Canada, First Nations, selected 5 different movements that are doing well across Turtle Island in First Nations territory in Aotearoa and here in Hawaii. And we were selected as one of those movements to create, to maintain, to sustain a framework for others, Indigenous peoples who are standing. And so we were partially funded by these First Nations. And so we are very thankful. If not, we probably wouldn't have opened these doors today. So mahalo nui for that.
It has been a whirlwind, and again, velina me ke aloha nui a okua pau. Welcome everybody e kamoku o Hamakua no ke ke kauna o Honoka'a e no ka hale ike o ka Hawaiian Cultural Center of Hamakua. Mahalo everyone again for being here today. We are celebrating our 2-year anniversary today. And we bring that again in conjunction with the Kukulu art exhibit, which we now offer our center here now to house this wonderful opportunity of knowledge and sharing. But again, it is a time of celebration for us in many ways. As I look out, many of you here have been instrumental in the creation of this cultural center. And just want to open up this morning with just a little bit of background to our center. It's yours. It is ours. We went through this. Many of our ohana here in Hamakua who've I was a Hawaiian studies teacher for many years right here at Honoka'a Complex. And when my students began to come home and say, my parents didn't know what I was talking about, and I began to get more parents come and ask me questions. Oh, my kid came and was telling me about this story. What is that? I realized we need to open up that knowledge so everyone has access to this. And I began to just teach classes in the community. And in a short time, community was saying, you need to create your own place. We need to have our own spot. Because we were like in the park, in my living room, borrow one classroom. And so a little over 2 years ago, community got together with a little shout out on the sacred Facebook. Who wants to try this idea? People came together and just all Laulima working together, everyone offering their abilities and their time. We were able to fundraise to open up our center. And it continues in that way today. So as well as our celebration of honoring Kukulu, this is our grand anniversary. We are honored to have with us a number of different wonderful musicians and artists today, and I'm really honored to introduce Uncle Kalani, who is coming up first for us today. He's been a pillar in our community, Kukulu no. Alright, and just a few other things to celebrate. We have finally got our wheelchair access ramp here. It's been a big endeavor for us to try and get this because we want to make sure everyone has access to our hale. And throughout the day, I really want to honor my ohana in the back, Uncle Mako and Tidana in the back. This is my ohana and Tita Ui, my cousin, who supplied the awesome Ono Hawaiian food today. And so please grab some of that. So a little bit of thing for that too. All the tickets to purchase the lunches, you actually purchase the lunch here, you receive the ticket, and you can go pick up over there. Eo Hamakua.
Hamakua ku home kulai ne he mahimo hala ona pualani Hamakua ki hilo ki henele hua wahi pana oliro e uluna tanu o kaina e mai ke akua mai ke kilo hilo ana pua pama o kaina ne
So here we are at Kukulu. This is Kukulu, a tribute to the pillars of Mauna Awakea. So I'm going to step right out of this photo taken at Pu'uhuluhulu, because today is the day where we bring the Mauna to the people. to the community to answer a question: how can indigenous people reclaim their lands, their territories, their ways? And this is one way. You bring the sacred place to the community, and this is a pillar for us all. So we're going to start with how this exhibit came to be. These are my boots, and somebody thought enough of them to put a lei around them. And why would that be? Well, these boots are responsible for this exhibit. I wore these boots the whole year of 2015 on the mountain. I wore these boots as I traveled everywhere around the world, talking about the Mauna and representing the Mauna in the best way that I could. And I wore these boots throughout the contested case hearings until one day the soles came right out of the bottom. And I went to bed and my boots woke me up. And if you believe in everything we've done so far, it's not so far-fetched to believe that my boots would wake me up. My boots woke me up and said, I belong in an exhibit. I deserve an exhibit. And I said, oh no, do you really? And the boots said, yes, I do. And I said, an exhibit we will create for my boots. And thus, Kukulu came to be. So, in a way, I owe it all to these boots. So we're going to start at the beginning at what it takes if you are guided by your mountain, if you are guided by your sacred place. You listen, because your Mauna is as your deity. Your Mauna is your kupuna, your chief, your protector, your guardian, your teacher, your corrector. So under the guidance of the Mauna created Kukulu. So we're going to start at the beginning. So we are creating a framework. We are creating a blueprint, or strengthening the blueprint that has been provided by our kupuna, by the Mauna. So when you come into this room, you look around, there is a manner in which we create such a piece. So the first thing we do is create the triangle. So if you lay the triangle this way, one corner of the triangle is Pu'uhuluhulu, the base of Mauna Awakea, where we hold our ceremonies. And today we are so blessed because at Pu'uhuluhulu is the pohaku that went around the world for the Malama Honua voyage of Hokulea from the top of Mauna Kea. As a beacon, it traveled around the world to guide the canoe on its journey and to bring the canoe back safely. And it is the one thing that has touched all of the earth. So it sits in its domain at what would be Pu'uhuluhulu. The other corner is the foundation of us all, the hale. The pili from this hale, the thatching, was brought from Ka'upulehu, from a hale pili that was built by Nakalaiva'a, by the voyagers that sail around the world. So we have brought the voyagers into the exhibit because we are mountain to ocean with no separation, and that reminds us. So we are at the second of the three in the triangle. The point of the triangle is obvious. It is the mountain herself, and this is a view from the Hamakua side because we are in the district of Hamakua. So the pieces that were presented by the artists come from Waikoloa all the way to O'Okala. Those are the districts of Kohala and the district of Hamakua. So after we set the triangle, we had to set the 4 pillars that are going to anchor us. We couldn't do anything around the room without setting the foundation. So the 4 corners, the masculine energy that is Kukia Imauna, from the Hale Kukia Imauna to the Kai on one side, the Ahus that are at about the 9,000 feet elevation come around this side, and we continue Kukia Imauna and that male energy, and that is Lahui na Kukulu, the nation and the pillars, starting to set our foundation. We come up further, we are at the realm of Wakea. We are in the Vawakua, on the Mauna. We have to ask our kupuna, our akua, to set this for us and remind us while we are here that we are on the mountain. On the other side, we call upon the feminine. We have the masculine energy within us all. This is the feminine. This is Poliahu herself in the different forms that she takes, and the story of Maunaa Wakea gifted to us from the kupuna of Waimea. Next pillar, again the feminine energy on the Mauna. This is Haumea, in a kapa piece that was actually gifted by a Mauna Kea Ohana from Oahu. Then on this side is Mo'oinanea, guardian of Lake Waiau, who first visited us from this site in Waimea, Manaua, where she came to visit Manaua, sat on this site, asked my little daughter at the time, she must have been at 11, asked her to ask my family to try one more time. So this is the site of where that occurred. So she sits near Lake Waiau. Aloha Aina. Fourth pillar, back to the masculine strength. We are on the Mauna. We start with the Ahu at the very top. This is the northern plateau and the Ahu that is located there. Us up on that Ahu in ceremony. And on the other side, we come down the Mauna, and we are back at Pu'uhuluhulu. The royal order built the Ahu down at Pu'uhuluhulu, so we honor them today for doing that. It was built so we would find our full voice. And I have to say, we are on our way to that. So if you look there, this is what today is for. This is the one place you won't ever have to say, car coming.
No car.
Okay, so then I'm going to take you to the upper levels. So we couldn't even begin on these walls until we set the pillars. It was like, no, no, no. You set me first, and then you will be clear on what to do next. So the chant above is the chant for Kau'i Keaoli, and it includes the formation or creation of Mauna Kea. So we start with the voice, our prayer that goes to the heavens, so it is the highest in the room, because it is lifting up, and that's how we open today, by doing all of these verses. The next realm is the Vawakua. So if you look around the room, no matter where you are, The mountain is above us. Vauakua all the way around. The Mauna is everywhere above all of us. Next level is the Vaukanaka. So we start with the chant for this exhibit and the chant for us to rally, and it's called Kukulu, be a pillar. I am a pillar. What is a pillar? A pillar is a mountain. A pillar is an ahu, an altar. A pillar is a rock, and a pillar is a human. We are all pillars. This is the timeline. We start with the first contested case. And this is the timeline all the way until La 1000 in December on the Mauna. So we start in 2012, we end in 2017 as far as the timeline. On the other side, we pay tribute to everyone, and there'll be a lot more. We just started yesterday. There's some things we're still working on. These are from people who said, I am praying for you from my mountain. So what we're starting to do, we have all the names of the mountains that people have sent in through social media. They have told us they're praying from Mount Shasta. They are praying from mountains all over the world. We're starting to put the pins on all those mountains, and then we'll have the string that will tell you what mountain it is. But we want to honor people around the world who have prayed for us and connected to us from their mountains. So that's what that will be next week. These are the beginnings of a tribute wall called Na Kukulu. These are those kia'i who have passed on during this movement. So we begin with Sole, Wilma Holi, Mama Lim, Jerry Konanui, Moani Akaka, Marianne. Starting with our Ku'e petition, the kupuna that have passed. These are the 24/7 kia'i on the Mauna. And we will add to that wall as people tell us, oh, you didn't put this one, you didn't have this one. We will add to that. These are our kukulu, especially the keiki. So these are all some of the keiki kupuna of the movement. Why we do what we do is, of course, for our ancestors, of course, for ourselves. But in the end, these kukulu are far braver than we. They are already on the Mauna. They have already stood in the crosswalks. I say at 56, I stood and faced whatever I had to. These keiki are saying, don't worry, Auntie. We stood at 6 months. We stood at 6 years. We have already stood. We are so much farther ahead. So we remind ourselves that we have these kukulu to shape, to teach, and to learn from. And this is a great sit right here, because this is a kia'i who is carrying the pohaku on the Mauna, carrying the water at the ocean, having a family that is Mauna and Kai. They are the kukulu. They are the kia'i. They are the ohana. Most of these here are our allies. So we go from our Mauna up and we take a look at some of those who have been instrumental standing with us. They might not be Koko Hawaii, Hawaiian by blood, but they are deeply committed, deeply dedicated. They are our friends, our allies, our relatives, so we honor the allies. And we anchor with the strength within all of us because we are Mauna Kea. For 3 years, we were one of the top stories of Mauna Kea. This was probably my biggest challenge of all, was to find this newspaper. I searched far and wide for it, and finally one appeared. So these are the moments where we know that we are in this, and we are in this always. And we are anchored by the ads from the Mauna. We are anchored here. So every exhibit has to have a center, of course. So this is our piko. And again, our piko is the pohaku that has traveled around the world and now is here, because the Mauna is here. And the journey of how we presented the pohaku from the Mauna, when the pohaku said, please take me and I will journey with them, because when you journey, your end piece is always on the Mauna. That's what our chants tell us. Mauna Kea is the sealant. The end piece for the canoe is poliahu. So no matter where you go, you're always on the Mauna. So this is the presentation to Hokulea of the pohaku. This is me in New York. When I went to tell the pohaku that we had not let the Mauna down, the Mauna was still safe. The Mauna was still protected, and I flew all the way to New York just to tell the pohaku that when it docked there, when Hokulea docked there. So we'll go to Ku'e now. So one of the things I wanted to make sure of was that this would be a temple and a sanctuary, but I also wanted to make sure that the voice of the people and the stance that we take would be heard, would be evident. So we created a separate room we call Ku'e. And so this is the room of the messages of the movement, the music of the movement. So you don't have to say too much. You just wear your movement, and you are movement in motion. So this is dedicated to all of us who stand for every place. So not only are the Mauna messages here, in the shirts that we wore, in the hats, in the shawls that were created so that we would be braver than our fear. But we are also featuring in here the music of the movement. And these are artists that contributed a song or two that they wrote for the Mauna, like Sudden Rush, Havani Rios. There's a whole bunch of artists that contributed a mele for our playlist, which we're keeping down today. But this is a tribute to Standing Rock. This is a quilt that I received from LaDonna, Brave Bull Allard, leader of Sacred Stone. And some of us were there for a long length of time. Some of us were there more than once. And we dedicate this to those who stood for Standing Rock. The Winnemem Wintu, the Northern California tribes have always stood with us. The First Nations have stood with us from the beginning. We flew their flag up on the Mauna. So this is our Northern California First Nations tribute. So this is, of course, our tribute to Oak Flat. We partnered with them, we allied with them, we've been with them since they've been standing against mining in their territories. So this is our Mauna Kea to Oak Flat. We've had their warriors up on the summit chant and sing and present us with a quilt that we are sharing today. So I'm going to stop and say, Lanakila, don't go in there for a second. Just say something about Kukulu and...
Aloha. It's an honor to be able to host this here at the Cultural Center. It's our community-owned and operated space, and to be able to be, this is exactly what we made this space for, to be a house of knowledge, and to be able to be a place for our people to gather, to share our stories, to share with each other, to motivate our communities, to motivate our people, and our cultural values and our cultural practices. So it's an honor to be able to host Kukulu here. Many of us here in Hamakua were very supportive and instrumental in the movement, and this is what it's here for. So honored to have Kukulu. And into the future. We're continuing to be here so that we can become and model of this a Kukulu, a pillar for our community here. And I think that's the beautiful vision of this exhibit and the mana'o behind Kukulu, especially as it travels, is that we are helping to establish pillars for each community. And be able to stand and to recognize, and a place for everyone to gather so they can do that good work.
So, how to spread the message of the movement? You have to be a presence for the movement, because if you're not, you tend to disappear. And people believe that you're not there anymore and you're not active anymore. So even at a Pa'u parade, the mauna is draped on her skirt. So you don't have to say anything. You just have to be the mauna. So we are the mauna. And this is the saying of our He ahala he kukulu, he mauna. He ahala he kukulu, he ahu. He ahala he kukulu, he pohaku. He ahala he kukulu, he kanaka. What is a pillar? A mountain. What is a pillar? An altar. What is a pillar? A rock. What is a pillar? A person. Kukulu. Pillars of Mauna Awakea.
Actually, I got them this morning. I said, hey, you guys, I got to go down to the Hawaiian Culture Center and play some music. Can you help me out? Because those of you who know, I haven't been playing any instruments in like 3 years. So they said yes this morning graciously, and here we are. Gonna fake it and try to get through these songs and kuka with you and share our love and tell you what's important to us, anyway. So, my grandfather used to say, you know, if it doesn't begin right, it's not going to end right. So, I'm glad that we're beginning this way, because you guys know the next round is coming. So when the next round of fun comes, I want us all holding hands and smiling and, you know, enjoying our time together. Who knows how much time we got here? You don't know how many sunrises and sunsets you got. So we should just enjoy them all. Ayo? Enjoy every single one. Ayo? That's the way to go. So here's a prayer for everybody. Pray for the rain, for the early snow. Pray there's a God up in heaven, a fallen angel below. Pray for the road less traveled, unravel the things you know. Won't you pray for the working class hero? Pray for the water, for the healing spring. Pray for the wind through the treetops when the forest sings. Pray every crying baby, what a crying shame. Some of us will never pass this way again.